Well, hi there, racing fans, and welcome to another edition of Winning Ways, where fortunately we don't have Laf here today. Laf stand-in is none other than Dees Dynan. Nice having you with us, Dees.
Pleasure, James. You were not here the last week. I took your place. We know the reason why you were not here. Well, what's happening to Laf, James?
Well, it's very hushed up. But that beard of his has been giving him a little problem. Got a bit moth-eaten. Apparently, Mauritius is the place to go. Maybe he's going to go and get it fixed up there.
Sure.
They say there's some pretty good surgeons there. I said to him that maybe he should have his eyes done, his forehead done, and maybe penis enlargement would help him as well, But at the end of the day, he's gone for some type of thing to Mauritius, and I'm not quite sure. He's always got to tell everyone where I go away.
Sure,
at least
sure.
my hearing's improved now,
Yes,
because I went and had my ears done and
Yes.
that. But and they look quite pretty, my ears, don't they?
No, it looks fine now, James.
They look all right.
And we don't want Laf losing his beard now, so it's better he gets it sorted
big
out.
problems with the beard, because he's had it for a long, long time, and it's
Yes.
starting to get a bit moth-eaten and a bit grey around the edges. And apparently he'll come back from Mauritius looking like a spring chicken. But we've got a hell of a show today, because not only we've got you, but we've got a very interesting horse in the blast from the past. But more importantly, we're going to the KwaZulu-Natal Racing Awards, which was one of the best evenings ever. You were there?
Yeah, fantastic evening. I think hats off to Gold Circle and their management for arranging a superb function, and the guys will get to see it. But before we start on the show, James, you're looking a bit red.
Yeah, I've had a wonderful 2 days. I was lucky enough to get invited to Neil Loudon's game farm, Zola Zola. It's between Ladysmith and Colenso, and I got to give him a plug because it was superb. We spent a couple of days with Robin and Robert Muir. They were there,
Yeah.
and the food outstanding, the ambience 5-star, and that's why it's a 5-star place. And the game we saw was fantastic. And there's a little cheetah park next door where they're rehabilitating cheetahs. Unfortunately, I spent the whole day in the sun playing with cheetahs on the day before we came back.
But that's obviously not where you got the hearing aid.
No.
It wasn't at all.
Listen, I'm a traveler, okay? I get around, I move around.
Sure.
But Zola Zola, for any of you that want to go and have a look on the website, our great friend Neil Loudon owns the place, and really it is well worth going and spending a day or two there.
Brilliant.
I have never been pampered and looked after like that for 2 days in the bush anywhere. Normally in the bush was when I was in the army, when they sort of wandered around and tried to keep out the way of lions. We saw a lion kill. It was just fabulous. Well worth a little break. Maybe you can pull a move for yourself. Get yourself.
more episodes on this show. Maybe we'll get the nod, James.
Get the nod. That's what it's all about. Let's go and have a look at our 3 to follow. Right, well, let's go straight into our first of our 3 to follow. We go to Turfentine, the second race. The Greek hang glider, as Laf likes to call him, lucky who do like us. I call him unlucky, how do you like us? And he stepped out a right approach filly. And the money came for this one, but certainly got changed to steel shoes. It was carded as aluminiums, and I saw that in the runoffs, it had steels on. This was a good run.
Fantastic run, James. I had a look at the replay. She jumping out of the inside draw, which is nicely favoured there at the Turfentine track and in the green stalls, James, and gets into the race early.
Yeah, sharp as they come. The horse that beat it was the horse that had the form and certainly had the speed rating. Tell My Start was a 4-year-old filly of St. John Gray's, which is sitting about 4th or 5th. But watch this filly. She's in the Heinrich Rix colours on the inside, in the lime green colours with the sheepskin noseband. She's in front, and she shows tremendous pace. She'll improve from this.
Yeah, she gets into the race early and natural gate speed. And at one stage, it looked like that she may go on and fight out the finish. And one would say just inexperience finding out on the day. I think she went a bit too quick from that inside draw, James. And Chase Mazon is urging her along. she was no match for the winner, but will definitely come on with this run.
Definitely. Probably stick the alleys on next time, and you'd find that this filly will be able to go and win a 5 furlongs on her head. She's one to follow, definitely, but we've been battling to find horses, certainly on the Highveld and in the Cape. I think the best horses in KwaZulu-Natal, because when we move on, we're going to show you the 2 from KwaZulu-Natal that we've picked up, and really they were 2 very, very nice horses. We go to the first race at Scottsville yesterday, and the right sent out an Astronomer Royal colt gelding. He is bred in Australia. You pick him up there.
Yeah. David's Flower. He's now at the back of the field. He's in the white headgear there. Craig Zaki, and was a bit slow away. James seemed to have a few problems out of the starting stalls, but you see now Craig Zaki, everyone wants to tack over to the inside, and the normal thinking of the apprentices, I'm going to try and get this horse to the inside, James.
Well, that's where he made his error, because the winner comes from behind the horse with the orange colours, and he should have stayed behind the horse with the orange colours. He's moved over to the inside. He gets no running room at all on this horse, and this horse would have just about won if he had stayed behind the horse with the orange colours, which is where he should have been. He's now absolutely caught in a pocket and got absolutely no chance, and this is the first time I remember David's Flower. He's now got to switch outside the horse in the blue, which goes on to win the race. And it just shows you what a run this horse had, because he gets a smack there, but he's got nowhere to go. He gets another tap, then gets another tap. Now he puts a stick away, and he's still rising with the hands, and the horse is running on well, and he gives him a smack. This horse would have walked it. This is quite a nice horse.
Yeah, he had a good look at the track there, James. I mean, he was on the inside, he was boxed in, and he had to be switched out and switched out again. So, maybe just decision making from the apprentice. If he kept a straight course, the horse could have finished much closer.
Apprentices on first timers, not my scene. I think that you've got to put on a guy who's going to teach a horse, and certainly I think that was an unlucky loser. But take a look at the next one we've got. Race 2 on the same track at Scottsville yesterday. Mumsy's Jet. Now this is obviously named after Roy Mudley's wife, Mumsy.
100%.
And at least he's found a really decent one. You see, he named one after Mumsy, so now it turned out to be maybe a very good horse. I think this horse is going to go right through.
Yeah, when we had a chat with Alison and Kevin before the race, they were expecting a decent run from this horse, James.
So those are both right horses, first and second race, and really both worth watching. And let's have a look at Mumsy's Jet in the famous Roy Mudley colours, drawn 7 again.
Yeah, jumps out from Stallgate 7, and you'll see the difference in riding style here from the one we just noticed. Jockey Anthony Delpes in no hurry to get to that inside running rail. It just keeps this horse on a straight course, and also a bit outpaced in the early stages, but you'll see this horse fly over the final 400 meters. You see Delpes just keeping the horse together here. There's no hurry to try and get to those front runners just as yet. But when he presses the button at the 400, this horse definitely shows a good turn of foot.
Well, Ndaba wasn't out of turn winning. You know, Colin Scott's stable is in huge form at the moment. But Mumsy's Jet is just behind them and just behind the winner. Not really much room. But you'll see that Delpes comes out on him now, and he runs a great, great race. He really looks like a nice horse. Not much room there either, but he gets him past the straggler that's just on his outside, and here's where this horse really runs on. I like this horse a lot, by Western Winter.
There were short hits in it at the line. It could have gone either way. Lindaba, a 5-year-old, an up-and-coming horse, and two top riders, MJ Odendal, Anthony Delpes, and Lindaba's from an informed stable of Colin Scott, but I think that horse definitely one to follow next time out. And was also just, we show these races. A horse that was punted in that race was called Virtual Emblem, and very kind enough that Dennis Dreyer told me that this horse will definitely need the run. We gave it to the boys, so the horse was punted to start favourite, James, and the writing was on the wall after the trainer's comments.
Well, you see, that's the benefit of having guys like you on the track. And on top of that, having the benefit of listening to pre-race interviews, and more punters would like to hear much more from the local track. Unfortunately, we don't get to hear enough from the on-course presenters, but that really did help them, because then it looked like Lindaba came into the race, and Mumsy's Jet, as far as I was concerned, went down the best of all of them. And I think he's got a horse that's got a big future, this horse. I think he's a really nice horse.
Yeah, Alison Reich is having a great run, champion juvenile, and of course, she's got two lovely first-timers here. Let's see how it goes. It's all about getting the support and getting the stock, and it seems like she's getting the support from a few guys now.
100%. Let's go and have a look at our blast from the past. Before that, remember that the Ready to Run sale, 1st to the 3rd of November. Don't miss that, Thoroughbred Breeders Association. And we'll have a look there.
The European star is a dozen lengths from the front as Offbeat trails the field as they continue midway down the backstretch. Bertrando coasting on an uncontested lead, and he's moving at a quick pace. The quarter in 23 and 1. He gets a half in 46 and 3/5 seconds. It is still Bertrando out there unchallenged. He leads by 2. Long shot Agincourt still chasing second. Pine Bluff is only 3 lengths for the lead. Arazi hits his best stride, and there goes the European star Arazi, and he's coming with a menacing rush to Bertrando, and now the stage is set as they move toward the top of the stretch, and Arazi runs right by him. Arazi with a dramatic move as the field turns for home. He's wide into the stretch. Bertrando stunned at the inside with the move here of Arazi, and he's pouring it on. Just incredible move as they come to the top of the stretch by 4 now. And then it's Bertrando, who is now a discouraged second farther back. It is Snappy Landing, and they're coming down to the finish here. Here indeed is a superstar. Arazi, absolutely brilliant. He was taken under a hard hold to win it here by 5, and he could have won by 10 perhaps.
But in winning in that extraordinary fashion, it was the end of him, because unfortunately it was on dirt, and he damaged both his knees, and within a couple of weeks he had surgery to remove chips from both knees. And when he came back the next year, I remember him winning in France in the spring, and everybody said, oh yeah, he'll go for the Derby in Kentucky, but in fact he was never the same, never as good again.
No, and in many ways he never had the size of the scope to go on as a 3-year-old. You know, he's very much a set individual from early on, but had he never won a race before or after, it wouldn't have made any difference. He'd still have been in my top 10 all-time greats for the flat, because of that one performance. On that particular occasion, he was sensational.
Well, there you go. If you go back, you'll be able to run your PVR back and have a look at this horse here. Second last, going through the 600-meter post, and just weaved his way through that. It was just...
James, unbelievable. You had to pick the horse out for me. You know, that's the first time I watched it, and you know, the commentator called it that this horse was 15 lengths back, and we don't see horses making ground on the inside running rail. I mean, it was just awesome. The gentleman who was being interviewed there, he mentioned this is the top 10, in his top 10 performances of all time.
I just want to say there, thanks to Johnny Frankham, because he's given us permission to use this footage, you know, in Blast from the Past, so we can show you all this stuff. And Johnny Frankham's done some wonderful work with top horses, and we'll be going through and following up with this horse and other horses. But just going back to Arazi, Paulson bought him as a yearling. He's by, as a weanling, he's by Red Guard. And I know they say that he never produced his form as a 3-year-old, but he had knee chip operations or bone chip operation between his 2 and 3-year-old career, and maybe was never the same horse. But the horse that he beat was a multiple Group 1 horse, Bertrando. And then this horse went to stud, Arazi, and was infertile. So, you know, it's just an unbelievable racehorse to watch a race like that. He was trained in France by Francois Bouton. Pat Valenzuela rode him. And the only other horse that I saw win like that ever was Zenyatta.
Unbelievable, James. You know, the guy used the word sensational. 1991, you mentioned we weren't getting this type of footage on our television screens. It's nice now that we're getting to see some of these international races, but that picked out James. I mean, it must go as one of the greatest races that I've watched, because what that horse accomplished from the position it was halfway through the race, it was an unbelievable win. And as the commentator mentioned, he was just held up over the final 2 furlongs.
Yeah, well, as I say to you, the second horse was clear of the third horse, about 5 or 6 things clear. He ended up multiple Group 1 winner. So how good was this horse? This horse was just absolutely incredible. But we're going to move on, and we're going to have a look at what we think is a pretty incredible performance too, and was the plum of the week. Let's go and have a look at that.
Connection between runners Garibaldi, Luxardo. Captain on the run's got about 3 lengths to make up. Going to angle towards the inside. Bonamakubi, Garibaldi runs on. Captain on the run's looking for a split. Not happening. Going to have to come around. And Garibaldi comes into the lead. Luxardo's on the outside. Goldstream. Garibaldi the last 100. Bonamakubi. But it's Garibaldi for the victory. Garibaldi won it. Back in second, Bonamakubi. Then came Luxardo. Goldstream further back with Captain on the run.
Well, 5-1 on Interbet, shortened to 7-2. You would have taken 28-10 with your local bookmaker. But more importantly was that this filly was a plum, because I know there was a supposed certainty in the race, okay, of Dennis Dry's 1-2 from 2. But look at this filly's time. She ran 57 the last twice that she ran, 57 and some change. The other horses weren't in the same league. But she was giving 4 kilos to quite a useful colt. But to get 5-1 about a horse like this on Interbet, and she's sensational, this filly.
She's sensational. I don't know about it being a plum of the week, James, but at value, I can agree with you. I mean, around 5-1, the guys that like her definitely, because the handicappers got her off at 98. She's up with the best fillies of her generation. She was carrying 57.5 here, giving 4 kgs to the younger 3-year-old colt, to the same age 3-year-old colt. And there were some hard-knocking older sprinters here. In fact, in the interview, I mean, myself and Delpesh had a giggle at what was Laf thinking. I mean, running this filly in this kind of, looked the wrong race for her, but he's proved us all wrong. He thinks highly of her. She's proven it at the track. She's now 4 from 5, and if you liked her, James, I hope you got the lot.
She's won 3 races over 5 furlongs in 57 and some change. Times don't lie, and when horses run a good time, take a very close note of it. I know that Dryer's horse that won first time out won in 58 and some change. That's a second. That's about 5 or 6 lengths that he had to find with her. Look, he is getting 4 kilos, and I don't think he was the luckiest horse in the race. He was a bit unlucky at the start.
Yes, he was.
You know, but at the end of the day, do you want to take 8-10 or 5-1? I'll take the 5-1. You know, especially what I'm saying to you, Interbet. You get 5-1. The bookmakers, you get 28-10. You know, that's a huge difference.
No, the value was certainly there, but I must pay compliments to Laf and his stable. I mean, this filly, she looks special.
Right. Well, we're going to move on and take a break and have a look at a race, and we'll be back with current affairs. Well, there we go. Let's move straight into current affairs, and there have been some very interesting races. But the first thing we're going to start off is the Brazilian champion in Singapore.
Unbelievable. I mean, I'm lost for words to describe.
Listen, there's a television show. People are listening to you. Don't be lost for words now.
James, I mean,
please don't be lost for words, please.
8 out of 8 at Kranji. We had the pleasure of meeting him when he came down for the Jockeys International. A wonderful gentleman to chat to. I had an interview with him. But what he accomplished on Friday was just magnificent.
Well, I must tell you, it was more than magnificent. It was
Lost for words, James.
one of the most amazing performances you'll ever see. And you can go onto the website, the www.turfclub.com
Yes.
at Singapore SG. Okay, it's www.turfclub.com at Singapore. The 6th of September was the races. It's got all 8 races, but the last 2 races were just to ride 8 and to ride the last 2 like he did. They weren't favourites either. The first 2 were favourites, and the rest of them were certainly not at the top of the board.
Yeah, the first race one and the 7th race one, I think, were the second choice in the betting market. The rest were all favourites. I think that the shortest price one paid around R1.90, and the biggest price paid R5. That was race number 1. But you know, wherever you are in the world, against whoever you are riding, to accomplish that kind of feat on the day, I mean, it's just what dreams are made of. You know, I had a word of a few of the jocks yesterday at Scottsville, and they're all singing his praises. They got to meet him when he was here, and they all rate him as you know, one of the world's best at this stage.
Well, certainly to ride 8 out of 8 anywhere. I know Frankie rode 7 out of 7 at Ascot. That was the last time this type of feat has been done. But this kid, Joe Moreira, I know Debbie Hawkins has been singing his praises, and we got a lot of information off African Betting Clan, which was very interesting because there are a lot of people commenting on it and saying how wonderful it is to see that. And maybe at the time we did a little documentary on Moreira and a couple of the other jockeys, South African jockeys, that we could get, you know, and put on the screens, on teletrack screens. I know that we had Brandon Lorena last week, and he was very well received. People loved to see what Brandon had to say and, you know, find a bit about the backgrounds and who they are and what they are.
Yeah, and if you're talking about social media and the way technology is moving, it's all done in real time now, James. As it's happening, it's posted. As it's happening, it's reported. So as he was winning those races, you could see 1 out of 1, 2 out of 2, 3 out of 3, 5 out of 5. And then we're all waiting for the 8 out of 8. And it's all being reported in real time around the world. Yeah. I mean, we're all on the same page, James. It's just fantastic if social media is used in the right and proper way and in a constructive way. I think it's brilliant for horse racing, James.
Okay, we move to Hong Kong. Cerise Cherry. What a star he's been.
Oh, he's just been unbelievable. You know, he's 8-year-old now, James, and he won his 6th career win in Hong Kong, taking his stakes to 13.5 million Hong Kong dollars. And he won the Chairman's Cup over the weekend. Of course, he's trained by Derek Cruz, and he was ridden by Zach Putin. I think Richard Furey finished second on him last year, if I'm not mistaken, in the Grade 1 Hong Kong Sprint. I used to be from humble beginnings with trainer Paul Matchett. But 8 years of age, still loving his racing in Hong Kong.
I think it's a credit to them. It's a credit to the Hong Kong system. And wonderful to see a South African bred horse going and doing things like that. Now, we're talking about South African breds. The big race that Mike de Kock wanted to go for in Turkey was called, listen to this, the International, okay, Topkapi. The international Topkapi. Well, it was for international horses except South African horses. You know, Cerise Cherry's got horse sickness injections in his passport. He's still racing in Hong Kong. These mullets, okay, and I'm going to call them that, didn't allow Mike de Kock to go there. It was won by producer Hannon and Hughes when it took their cash anyway. So, you know, the English connection went over there and took the poor Turkish cash. You know, the Turks, well, there you are. Don't have to have Mike de Kock to go and take it, but really it's damn unfair what happened to him. And it certainly shouldn't be called international. It should be called, you know, pick as we go.
Sure.
Topkapi.
You know, but Mike was successful. Yeah, I think it was at Musia.
Well, that's why, you see, Musia went and gave them a clap. Now, I think it is such parochialism. It's not even possible. That's a big word for a 12-year-old. Okay, let's move on. Keeneland September sales starts this week. It's going to be a huge week of sales, and there's some very nice horses there.
Yeah, all over the world now you'll get these sales happening. But you know, we do a study for our Racing South Africa brochure where we compare sales prices across the every sale around the world. And when it comes to price versus quality, there's no comparison with our sales. We take the top 500 horses. Kevin Somerville assists me with that. You know, he's on the ball with what's happening at all these sales. And when it comes to price versus quality, James, I mean, of the top 500 horses in the world, South Africa still represents the value, and by a massive margin,
Well,
it must be added.
That's the point, and I know you work for Racing South Africa, and we're trying desperately to be able to get these horses out this country. If we could get the horses out this country, it would double or treble the sales prices in this country in a heartbeat, because they are such good value. We just spoken about Cerise Cherry. We talk about other horses that are going over there and winning. The Apache ran second. We won the Arlington Million, ran second. Shay Shay. These are all South African born and bred horses. Tough as they come. Competitive at the highest level, and we can't get them out. Because
No doubt, we all understand that it's a market waiting to explode. We just have to get the one issue of protocols in order, where everybody is on the same page, and just reduce our quarantine time. And I can promise you, the Aussies will be in big trouble, James.
Well, I don't think only the Aussies. I think everyone's going to be in big trouble. Let's go and have a look at what else has happened. The Fugue won the Irish Champion Stakes. Now, you know the Fugue?
Yeah, but just looked it up just to get a bit more knowledge before the show. Thanks for sending that to me. And, we just had a look, fresh off the win in the Yorkshire Oaks.
Yep.
Trained by John Gosden and beating the favourite Alakazam.
Well, Alakazam has had a really hard campaign, and I think that might be starting to tell, because normally he would beat the Fugue. But the Fugue won very, very well, and Gosden's was at 6s and 7s, whether to run it. This is how important the going is, because they had overnight rain, and it rained in the morning, and her worst race was when it had been wet. She's owned by Andrew Lloyd Webber, Lord and Lady Lloyd Webber. Okay, yeah. Shows you if you become a producer, songwriter, make a couple of shows, you become a lord in England. You know, can you imagine?
James, you would have got that title long ago. But just having a look at the Prince of Wales and the Coral Eclipse, getting the better of Alakazam, who obviously finished in front of her in both those races. But what was also interesting for me is that this Irish Championship is sponsored by a feed company, Red Mills.
Yeah, Red Mill. They're certainly big sponsors over there. You've got all those feed companies over there that have something to do with it. Bookmakers and feed companies, they're the two real winners in the business of horse racing.
It's all about sponsorship. We're getting some new sponsors in for our races here, which is encouraging. Without the sponsor, we need the help of the sponsor for once, for the stakes, but more importantly, sponsors help bring people to the races, James.
Dee's just on Leopardstown, was racing at Leopardstown, Australia, who's probably one of the best bred horses in the world. I'm surprised they named it Australia. They should have named it South Africa. I would think Australia would be one of the worst bred horses in the world, looking at a couple of the inhabitants,
We know your opinion, James. We know your opinion.
But anyway, I just said a couple. Okay, I didn't say all. Sure. I've got some great mates there. Billy Henderson and them were all there talking about it. Bram van Hasteen. They all went to the rugby on Saturday. That was quite interesting, wasn't it, that we beat those Australians so easily?
No, that was a given, James. When it comes to rugby at this stage, this year, 2013, we arguably one of the best teams.
Arguably?
Best teams.
Wait till the New Zealanders run up against us next week. That's going to be interesting.
James, we're going to give them a run for their money. But the Aussies were no match. I think the New Zealanders will put up a bit of a fight, though.
Well, let's hope so, because there are a couple of New Zealand mates we'd hate to be having to send Texas to, saying to them, because the Aussies got it flat out, don't worry. We sent to every Aussie. But this horse, Australia, is by Galileo out of Ouija Board. I remember Ouija Board, how good she was.
She was brilliant.
And it won Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf at Leopardstown. But just chatting to you, Dees, you've been a presenter for many, many years now, and it's really going well. I think you guys are starting to get something into place that people really like.
I know. Thanks for that, James. It all comes from management at Teletrack. They set the ground rules on what they expect of us on a race day. And, we're now teaming up with another presenter on the day. So, we got a difference of opinion that seems to be discussed on air. And it seems to be working well. I personally like it because one presenter on the day for me was a bit too monotonous. You're just going through the motions the entire race meeting. Working with another presenter, and you can, always try to find a bit of value for the public out there, but more importantly, it gives you a bit of time to get a bit more information from the trainers and jockeys during the intervals. In between races, you get to chat to trainers and jocks while one guy is doing the presenting in the parade ring. And when you join him, you know, that kind of information is then passed back to the viewers.
I like the part where you assess each horse when it's walking around the parade ring, you know, where you give that assessment of the horses walking around the parade ring, because a lot of punters listen to exactly what's going on. In fact, if you watch the betting moves, certainly on the tote, you'll see some amazing fluctuations after you said that a horse looks pretty well or looks like it's got the right form. People actually listen and watch that lot.
It's unfortunate that not all of the race meeting on course will be covered by Teletrack live normally. It just depends on how many race meetings they have. But if you go onto the Racing Association,
Racing International,
Racing
as well.
International, that feed is as you're seeing it at the racetrack, as it's happening at the course, the feed is live on the Racing Association International feed. And Teletrack obviously gets their feed from Racing International. So, you know, if you're watching Teletrack and Teletrack alone, you may be missing out on some of those parading previews, as you mentioned. So, you know, it all depends on how much of time the production has.
The other thing that's important today, 9th of the 9th of September, is no more couplings in the pick sixes.
Yeah, we've seen that rule drop away with the jackpot, and I must say, positive results when it comes to dividends and the pools. The pools increased, the dividends went up, and I'm sure you know, V. Moodley and his team will be expecting the same with the pick six. You know, that the pools increase and the dividends go up. But me personally, the only one way I see is that we're going to have some big winners with this type of pick six.
Yeah, it's going to definitely benefit the bigger punters,
Yes.
because the smaller punter is going to find it much harder now to catch something. And, you know, when you're going to get these carryovers, and imagine if the Cock's got the even money shot. I'm just using him as an example. Or one of the big stables got an
Yes.
even money shot in the race, and the 12-1 stable companion comes and beats it in an exotic. And it often happens. You don't know how often it doesn't happen that one of the outsider of the two couplings wins the race.
And before, you know, when structuring your perms, you generally put in the scratching of the coupling to get the favorite and the coupling. You know,
Sure.
you could actually get 3 horses for the price
Correct.
of 1.
Yeah.
You know, now that perm is actually, you're going to have to rethink, because you put in the scratching, you get the favorite. You're not going to get the coupling.
Well, my opinion in structuring jackpots has always been, when you see a field that you think's wide, put in the whole field, and that's where you can get lucky with the result. I remember I was taking a pick six with a couple of stewards at Clearwood the one day, and there were 12 horses in the field, and they said, let's put in the first 10, because 11 and 12 have got no chance.
Yes.
I said, if you're putting in 10, you might as well put in 12. I know the percentage goes up, but it's probably goes up by a sixth. Okay, so instead of spending 1,000, you're spending 1,100 or 1,200. Let's put in the 12 horses. Well, what was the number 12? was one of Mike Pappas' special, my dear friend Mike Pappas up in the Midlands. It was 66-1. Went to the front at 1, you know, and we ended up catching a very nice jackpot because of it. But it was in the days of jackpots where there were couplings or whatever. But it just shows you.
But James, you know, putting in the field, it takes out what we're trying to promote, the intelligent bet. You know, if you're going to just put in the field, what's the purpose of studying the book then?
Let me tell you, to me, that is the intelligence of punting, is to look at a field and say to yourself, this field is wide open. 8 out of the 12 horses can win, and if any of the other 4 win, that's when I want to be in the payout. And I believe that, I know that Graham Hawkins agrees with me, we take fields in place accumulators. And we took a field as long ago as Tuesday, where we got a 25-1 shot, a 20-1 shot, and a 33-1 shot ran first, second, and third.
Yeah, that's luck. When it works for you, brilliant.
But that's what studying is. That's what being intelligent is. See?
Putting in the field.
When you when you say this field is too difficult for me to have pick out a horse, and I'm going to put them all in and hope for the result.
You know, if you're playing 3 bankers and 3 fields, I'd maybe understand something like that. But
Well, I've always, and I'm going to give the viewers out there a tip that they might or might not want to know. I've always reckoned that structuring the pick six is very simple.
Yeah.
You've got to find two bankers.
Yes.
You've got to have at least one field, maybe two fields, okay? And you've got to have two races where you've got 2 or 3 or 4 horses.
Yeah.
And if your two bankers arrive and you get lucky with the others, it will be better than having an all to come on your two bankers. Because if the two bankers are, say, even money and 9 to 10, and you can get 7 to 2, 5 to 2, 28 to 10, maybe 3 to 1, the double. Okay, so you're going to spend 1,000, you take 3,000 to 1,000. If your two bankers arrive in the pick six, and your two fields you get 2 20 or 25 to 1 shots, you're going to get a lot more than 3,000 to 1,000 for your money.
The way I see it, I structure the pick six around the jackpot. I initially choose the jackpot because the pick six, the first and the last leg are generally maiden plates, and I find it easier to find a winner in a maiden plate than a handicap race. So I would do the jackpot first, and then the first and last races, which are maiden plates generally, you can narrow it down.
Dees, it's wonderful chatting to a guy like you because you're passionate about punting.
Sure.
And you certainly spend whatever wages you get on having a go.
Not on this show, James. My wife watches it. Please, let's put a full stop there.
Well, whatever profits you make, you spend, okay?
Thanks, James. Thanks, James.
I know that
I like to play with the operators' money most of the time.
I know that no one goes short at your home, so don't worry about that. I know it's like, listen, we're all punters, and we know one thing about punters. It's either fish or fowl or nothing, okay? And it depends how things are going. So at the end of the day, we wish all the punters out there the best of luck with the pick six. We hope that this new change does help you, and we're going to go and move into your call, where we're going to have a look at the KwaZulu-Natal Awards. And as we said at the beginning of the show, don't miss this because it was one of the best evenings ever put together. The two recipients of the special awards, Jack Ramsey and Bill Lambert, were two of the most deserving recipients you'll ever see. And next week we're going to have Jack Ramsey on the show again. He was on the show once before, but we're going to have him again at 94. You will not believe this man. He is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I had a chat with him just yesterday at Scottsville, just talking to him about the award that was given to him by Anita Akel, and 71 July handicaps, and still going strong. He's 90 plus. He still comes to the races, never misses a meeting. He's an unbelievable character. And just touching on the racing awards itself, brilliant evening. Entertainment was great. The food was excellent, and the awards itself, we all had a great time, James.
Well, from me and Dee's Diner, enjoy the awards, and we'll be back next week with Laf, hopefully.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rio de Janeiro here in Durban. Welcome to the end of season celebration, and of course also to the KwaZulu-Natal Racing Awards. We bid you most welcome here this evening. We start off with tonight the KZN Awards presentation with the 2-year-old filly category, and in alphabetical order our nominees are Along Came Polly, For the Lads, and Happy Valentine. All three of them terrifically exciting 2-year-old fillies, now of course turn 3. But a unanimous decision. The KZN Award for 2012-13 goes to along came Polly. We move on to the 2-year-old colt gelding category, and once again we have 3 nominees. And once again, we're blessed that they're all Grade 1 winners in their own right. In alphabetical order, our 3 nominees in the 2-year-old colt gelding category: Captain of All, Forest Indigo, and Kochka. So in the one race there, it went absolutely down to the wire, and in trying to choose a winner amongst this category, it also went absolutely down to the wire. Your winner is Kochka. Very well done to Alison and Kevin Wright, and of course to Danica Stud, who bred Kochka. Our first winner, Along Come Polly, was obviously bred by the Faustfontein Stud, so wonderful 2-year-olds that we saw in action during Champion Season 2013. We move on to the 3-year-old categories, and we start ladies first. It's first the fillies. And in the 3-year-old filly section, once again we saw some very, very classy performances, and we've got 4 nominees in alphabetical order. They are All Is Secret, who closed off the season with an unbelievable victory in the Grade 1 Mercury Sprint. Dylan's Promise, who was a very facile winner of the Oaks over a much more testing distance. Festival of Fire, of course, who won the fillies Guineas. And that marvellous filly, Via Africa, rounds off the quartet of quality nominees for the 3-year-old filly category. The filly that captured the hearts and imagination of people around the country as she travelled around the country was Via Africa. A very special moment for Andre Hauptlich, who not only owns the filly but bred the filly together, races her with Albert Bossoff. To Duncan and Kathy Howells and his racing team, congratulations. Let's give them all a nice big round of applause. We move on now to the 3-year-old colt gelding category. And here again we saw some marvelous performances, and we have no fewer than 5 nominees in the 3-year-old colt gelding category. Again, performing over distances from the very fast sprint distances all the way up to the classic distances. And in alphabetical order, our nominees for the KZN 3-year-old colt gelding award are Cape Town Noir, of course from the stable of Dean Cannemeyer; Contador from the stable of Charlie Laird; Love Struck, who won the SA Classic Grade 1 at Turfentine; No Worries, trained by Gavin Van Sale; and of course the Daily News winner, Vercingetorix or Vercingetorix, whichever you prefer. All of them, as with the previous categories, any one of them could have won this. But in the end, albeit by narrow margins, the champion 3-year-old colt gelding for this 2013 racing season, that goes to Vercingetorix. Mike de Kock is an apology this evening, but in his stead are 2 men that keep the flag flying for him, particularly here in South Africa. Please welcome on stage Nathan Kotzen and John Buckley. Now we move on to the champion older horse gelding, mare, filly, the whole bang shoot. And we have 3 nominees in this category. In alphabetical order, they are Beach Beauty, Louvre, and Welwitcher. This is in the female category. Beach Beauty, Louvre, and Welwitcher. We'll introduce the males in just a moment. 3 nominees were possibly separated only by short heads. I think it's fair to say that this was pretty much a one-horse race. Let's honor Beach Beauty. The nominee is Mr. Warren Kidd, but we've also got John and Janet Biscoby here this evening. And a big warm welcome also to Sean Cormack, whose face you'll see featured on so many of the clips, and to Dennis and Jill sitting over there. She's not joined us on stage, but this was another 5-star performance from this team. Moving on to the champion older horse, that's the male category, the colt, the gelding, the horse. We have 4 nominees in this category, and in alphabetical order they are Jeppy's Reef, the winner of the Gold Cup; Jet Explorer, winner of the Betting World 1900; Merhe, winner of the Post Merchants; and Run For It, who finished such a gallant second in the 2013 Vodacom Durban July. Jeppy's Reef, Jet Explorer, Merhe, and Run For It. Our champion older horse for this season is Jeppy's Reef. And we start off the next 4 categories with our champion sprinter category. And here again we have 4 nominees, and in alphabetical order. You'll have seen most of these in action already on the video clips. All Is Secret, winner of the Mercury Sprint; Contador, winner of the Golden Horse; Merhe, winner of the Post Merchants; and Via Africa, winner of the SA Filly Sprint. We've seen them before. Wow, they're all fast, very fast. But who's the fastest of them all? Via Africa! Back on stage, we've got Andre Havfleisch representing himself, of course, and the owners, Albert Boshoff, and the Duncan and Kathy Howells racing team. Let's give them another big round of applause. Champion middle distance runner, irrespective of age and irrespective of sex. We have 5 nominees in this category. In alphabetical order: Beach Beauty, Cape Town Noir, Jet Explorer, Louvre, and Versi Gettins. There you have them, ranging in age, ranging in sex, but all of them packed with class. Tough category, but the panel were pretty unanimous. Once again, it's Beach Beauty. Of course, we've got to move on to the champion stayer. And in alphabetical order, our 4 nominees are Adobe Pink, who came so well during the season for trainer Neil Bruss and Sally Jordan. Jeppy's Reef, of course, winner of the Gold Cup. Night to Remember from the Duncan Howell stable, the grey that continues to perform at the very highest level. And of course, Mike Bass brought another runner here that won stakes races over ground, and that was River Crossing. So in alphabetical order then again, our nominees were Adobe Pink, Jeppy's Reef, Night to Remember, and River Crossing. Not surprisingly, I guess, it was his victory in the Grade 1 Gold Cup that held sway Our champion stayer is Jeppy's Reef. It's no surprise, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome on stage our leading trainer out of Ashburton, a professional who will hold his head high amongst any trainers anywhere in the world. Please welcome on stage Duncan Howells. Once again, I guess it won't come as a surprise. The statistics speak for themselves. A clear winner as far as the leading trainer at Clarewood is concerned. We, in his absence, congratulate Charles Laird and call on Darryl Moore to receive the award on his behalf. We've seen him on stage a few times this evening. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your leading trainer out of Summerveld, Mr. Dennis Dreyer. Our KZN Apprentice of the Year, the man who rode more winners than any other. Please welcome Keegan DeMello. Ladies and gentlemen, Anton Marcus. And once again, I guess no prizes for guessing that the recipient of our outstanding KwaZulu-Natal Trainer of the Year goes to Mike de Kock. And so it's with great pleasure that here at the KwaZulu-Natal Racing Awards, we announce, not for the first time, not even for the second time, but yet again, our champion owner, Marcus and Ingrid Juster. In KwaZulu-Natal, the stud that performed best, and our KZN Breeders of the Year, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Klavervlei Stud. Ladies and gentlemen, recipient of the Anita Akel Special Award for this year. What is a 90-year-old? Is it an octogenarian, we got an octogenarian, a non-engineer? Shall I just call his name? Jack Ramsey! 94 and still going strong and still working. Well into his 90s, ladies and gentlemen, and he's still seen to be working every single race meeting, and he still does a lot of cycling and a lot of walking, and not so much running these days, but we'll forgive him for that. He's absolutely passionate about the game, and he's just, I'll use a word that Paul Lafferty often used, he's a font of memories, a font of information, and he's blown away by this award, and so he should be, because he's just a very special person. Our racing personality of the year is Bill Lambert. Unanimously, KwaZulu-Natal's Horse of the Year, small in stature, big in heart, Beach Beauty. And as I said earlier, the great news is that her racing career is far from over. She is headed for the Cape Summer season and for another crack at all those magnificent feature races down there, including possibly another match at, crack at the JMB Met, which she ran so gallantly this past season. Multiple graded stakes winner, multiple grade 1 winner. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the Beach Beauty team. And before we ask one of them to say a few words, it has also been tradition at these awards over very many years to honor especially the groom of the Horse of the Year. And this year is no exception, and we take great pleasure in especially congratulating Simpiwe Noholazi. Here he comes. Ladies and gentlemen, Simpiwe Noholazi.